Here we go now.
Do you realize that Mother's Day is less than a month away? Have you even thought about what you're going to get your mother? Well, we are partnering yet again with our friends over at Rose Forever, roses that will last you at least a year. I've partnered with them multiple times and I have so many of their roses. I've even given them away as gifts. And the last time that we partnered with Rose Forever, it was during Valentine's Day. And look at these roses. And they still have their wonderful rosy scent. But shout out to our friends at Rose Forever. They don't just have roses anymore. They have candles. They have even things for the brides. Some of you are getting married this spring. Just saying. They also have hydrangeas. There's all kinds of new assortments. You can see behind me, I have some roses. If you were here in my apartment, if you were a friend of mine, I've gifted Rose Forever to you guys. And some of you have had your roses for more than a year. But Rose Forever promises that for at least a year, you will have high quality, wonderful smelling, beautiful roses in your home. And please understand, this is a flower arrangement that your mother will love. Your mother will always look down and say, oh, my child got that for me, or my coworker got that for me, or my favorite nephew got that from me, or my favorite niece got that from me, or my favorite goddaughter or godson.
Yup.
Roses work for anyone. I can't tell you how I feel walking into my home and I have a Rose Forever bouquet at my front door or somewhere in my home, on my kitchen island, or here in the studio. Because the studio can be just a workspace, but as you can see, it can liven up any workspace, any room in your home, including your bathroom. So even if you're not looking for something for Mother's Day, or maybe you want to get a Mother's Day gift for yourself, of course, get Rose Forever. As always, more information on Rose Forever and our link will be available in the description. Thanks, Rose Forever. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your #1 source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. This is our final recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 14 reunion. Let me know if you guys can hear me, see me, all the good stuff. All right, shout out to everyone in the live chat. Those of you watching on YouTube, I put the wrong series, but you know, we already recapped the Real Housewives of Atlanta, so you know what I'm talking about. How would you rate this week's episode of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? How would you rate it from 1 to 10? And I'm sure a lot of you didn't even notice that error was there. And you guys are giving this Beverly Hills reunion based off of almost 500 votes. 48% of you are rating it between a 4 and a 6. Look, based off of this reunion, it did feel like part 3 was a bunch of nothing. There was a lot of stuff just like, okay, here we go, talking about Kyle again. Let me just tell you something. Kyle, you're not that interesting anymore. Yes, you've offered us all kinds of things over the years, but I think it's time for you to have a break. I did watch the extended, uncensored version that they have on Peacock. You're welcome, Peacock. Run me my check, and I mean that. I mean it. And for those that were wondering, is it worth getting Peacock in order to watch the uncensored version? No, it's not. There wasn't a lot of anything left in there. Okay? There wasn't. There were little things that if you don't have Peacock and you're on the fence, oh, maybe I want to watch the uncensored version. No, you don't need to. There you go. And any little element that was left out, I have it in my notes. I'll talk about it here. Well, some of you say you don't even watch the episode, you watch my recap. So there you go. Save your coin. I know some of you paid taxes yesterday, filed your taxes yesterday. Save your coin. Back to Kyle. Karen. She's been a Karen this entire season, and I pointed it out episode after episode, and I've seen it more and more. At the end of this reunion, what we see with Kyle saying, well, this was child's play what Garcelle has gone through. Let me tell you something. You're not going to tell a black woman or compare what a black woman has gone through being a part of the show in comparison to what you've gone through. It's not the same. And the conversation that you and Garcelle had several seasons ago, it completely went over your head. It completely went over your head, Karen. And I don't care how people say, oh, Kyle is the queen of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We're good. We're good. Kyle is refusing to share anything in regards to what's going on in her life at this point. And that's because she's been on reality TV for so long. So she knows how to manipulate what we see and what we're going to see. I'm not interested. Even if Kyle was to come out tomorrow, I am a lesbian. I don't care. All right? I don't care. And Sutton, I would never talk to you again in life if I was Garcelle. Because you showed in this reunion yourself how self-centered you really are. And if you don't pay attention to the reunion in regards to the faces that Garcelle was making throughout, oh, you should. Because it was quite telling. Even though she refused to answer questions, she's like, I'm not answering any more questions. I don't blame her. She was done. She was done after part 1. She's just like, I'm not doing this anymore. But anyway, who else wants it? Garcelle, get behind me. Yup, it's that weekend. Where's my little thing? Get behind me. This is your final reunion. Get behind me. Okay. Judy says I paid attention. Judy's watching on TikTok. Shout out to everyone watching on TikTok. Kyle, we don't care. That whole segment of you boo-hooing, every single reunion, you're boo-hooing. Oh, Kyle gets it so tough. Whatever. She does not get it tough at all. Boo-hooing. I feel, woo, Kyle. Very sorry for you. Now go worry about how you exploited your family and your sexuality or coming out or lack thereof coming out because you didn't come out. How you exploited that in order for it to have some sort of storyline last season. And now this season, we can't talk about Morgan. We're going to talk about Morgan. And not because we're listening to that terrible music. Morgan, you decided you signed that release to be on the show. We're going to say your name, Morgan. You're still parading around following after Kyle everywhere. We're going to say your name, Morgan. Look, and if I was a part of this cast, I would have said it every time I saw Kyle. So how's Morgan doing, girl? How's Morgan doing? And then she'll probably like, how's Morgan doing? She's in your life. You were all over on the tabloids. Look, the tabloids. How's Morgan doing? She doing good? Mm-hmm. How's the relationship going? Oh, I didn't hear you. How's the relationship? Huh? In the uncensored version, at one particular point, Andy reads a comment in regards to how Kyle feels like she's different than the rest of the cast and how she feels like she's above it all. And she was just like, F that, she said F them in regards to the person making the comment. Kyle, you're basically saying F the entire audience because a large majority of the audience are tired of you. That's why they were so pro Dorit. Dorit, please understand, people were not pro you because they like you or that you're likable or that you're interesting. They only liked you because of their hate for Kyle. Let's keep it real. No one likes you either, Dorit. There's nothing interesting in the least bit about you. Let's be honest. Let's call a thing at this point. I'm going to go out with a bang. That's the only reason why Queen Dorit, because Dorit was going up against Kyle. Well, now Dorit has fallen back into the fold with Kyle and the Fox Force flunkies. Okay. Raquel says that's why Garcelle left Kyle on red, because I saw Kyle recently came out and says, I've texted Garcelle, but I haven't heard back. She don't want to talk to you. And I don't blame her. And Dorit calling Garcelle unprofessional, wasn't it just the last reunion or the reunion before that, where everyone was already on set and they were still waiting for you to get yourself together in order to come and film the reunion? Now that's unprofessional. And from what we hear, that's what you do all the time. People are waiting on you. Remember, CAMEO called her out for that as well during this past season. That's unprofessional. Garcelle actually stayed to the end of the reunion. She's not required, based off of her contract, to take a picture with you guys. Y'all didn't take the picture. Remember, Kyle didn't take the picture the reunion before. That is not a requirement under her contract. But again, you probably don't understand how contracts work. Weren't you just in pre-foreclosure? I'm waiting on a phone call. This is what she said, PK said. He's waiting on a phone call, so he says until he gets his phone call, he's not paying. That's not how it works. Remember what Bo said? She's like, sounds like that's how you lose a house. Just saying. All right. Speaking of Dorit, so at the top of this reunion, for those that are just joining us, we're talking about the final episode for season 14 of the Housewives of Beverly Hills. Okay. Oh, and sidebar, go back to when I told you and I dropped the tea about this reunion. What did I tell you guys in regards to? I was like, I didn't want to even say anything until Garcelle actually decided that she wasn't coming. I told you I had known that she had quit at the reunion. At the reunion. So for those of you that are like, oh, you lied. How am I lying when you're watching an edited version of tea that I heard before it was edited? Please explain that to me. Someone, please explain that to me. Who told you that she quit at the reunion? Who told you that? So please understand, Bravo can edit up until this week before the reunion airs on what they want to paint the picture of and how they want to paint people and how they look. And according to my sources, yeah, there were things edited out. And what? Again, I always remind you, this is not nothing new that I've said here on the channel before. We are watching an edited show. Context does matter. We've gone through all examples of different reality TV shows, housewife shows, where context is taken out. And I say, well, when we find out the context, we're like, doesn't that change how you view the situation? Just saying. Natty says, you did, Daddy. Anyway, moving on. Let me get into that. Okay. Let me get into this. So Sutton and Dorit are still going back and forth because at the end of last week's reunion, Dorit says that, there's more to life than things and money. Okay. All right. And Sutton's like, I don't need you to tell me that. All right. And then Dorit accuses Sutton of trying to buy someone. Why didn't they include when Dorit talked about buying Garcelle? Why didn't they include that from the after show? Why didn't we talk about that part? Dorit accused Sutton of trying to buy Garcelle. That was in the after show. Y'all showed every other parts from the after show. Why not show that? Where was that part? Asking for a friend. But okay. Then Tilly says, Sutton's very generous. She's a very generous friend. She's a very generous friend. Kathy says, well, Sutton's very frugal. And Erika's like, are you saying that Sutton's cheap? Garcelle says Sutton's not cheap. I can see Sutton being frugal. I know people sometimes use the word frugal as another word for cheap. I don't see being frugal versus being cheap. I can't stand a cheap person, but I understand being frugal. You know a cheap person. A frugal person is not a cheap person, but we're not going to get into because y'all know how these housewives are when it comes to words and definitions of words. Okay. I don't think if you're frugal, it means that you're cheap. I could be frugal, but I'm definitely not cheap. I could probably be more frugal. But here we are. Oh, I forgot to get water. We might have to have a commercial break so I can get some water. Okay. Jules on TikTok says, my husband's grandfather, damn, we went way back, was very frugal with his money, but he was not cheap. He was very conservative. Yeah, I think there is a difference. Okay. All right. Hold on. Moving on. Norma says Virgos can be frugal. I will agree with that. I will definitely agree with that. Amara says financially conservative. Butterfly Gal says I don't like cheap. Me either. As a Taurus, I definitely do not like cheap at all. But okay. Moving on from that, because again, nothing burger. So then they get into the whole Sutton storming out of Dorit's home after the drinking comment. So they go back and forth talking about the drinking stuff. Okay. Garcelle, they talk about Garcelle's talking about Bose being Dorit's representative. First of all, Garcelle said she had a bad morning. I would have asked more about that. I'm like, what happened? Okay. Funky says, go get your water, Kemp. I will. I don't need it just yet, but I will go get my water in a second. Okay. Natty says, I'm an impulsive Aries. I spend. I don't know. I feel like Aries is fairly, I wouldn't say they're frugal. I wouldn't say Aries are spenders like that. But I also wouldn't say that Aries are cheap. You get what I'm saying with the difference? You know what I mean? See, Q says, here we go with the debate about frugal over cheap. My husband is frugal, but definitely not cheap. Very generous and caring. Yeah. So Kathy says that about Sutton. So they talk about the after show and what was said in the after show, where Sutton says she felt like, and Jennifer Tilly was the one who actually remembered what Sutton said in regards to if she felt as if that Bose was a little angry at her. But Bose framed it as Sutton calling her an angry black woman. And Bose says, yeah, Garcelle, and you didn't even clock it. And Garcelle's like, I don't even remember hearing that. Okay. All right. And then Garcelle explained why she said that she felt like Bose was being Sutton's representative, of being Dorit's representative. And she was just like, she felt like when Bose came over, she didn't give any sort of grace. She didn't come over and say, like, what's going on? And Bose was like, what? There needed to be some sort of investigation? Here's the thing. And I did find it interesting, when Bose said that she had a conversation with Dorit. I don't know if it was on camera, off camera, and in regards to the comment that she made about Sutton's drinking. And she's like, oh yeah, we had a conversation. I noticed a lot on that side of the room. You guys have a lot of these conversations that we never see on camera. Erika did the same thing as well when she talked about when Sutton brought up the fact that, well, I wasn't the only person asking you questions. Dorit and Kyle were asking you questions. And she was like, yeah, and I cussed them out offline. Okay. I was like, all right. Very convenient for that side of the room. Okay. Did you also have a meeting offline? Okay. So, Bo says she didn't feel like there needed to be some sort of investigation. She says that that's when she brings up that she felt like Sutton called her an angry black woman. Even Sutton seemed shocked by it. Jennifer Tilly actually remembered the exact words that Sutton used, and she did use the word angry. She did say it felt as if she was a little bit angry at me. Okay. Then during the reunion, Sutton says, well, you were yelling at me. And Bose was just like, yelling? She's like, none of you guys have ever heard me yell. And I have to agree with Bose. We haven't heard Bose yell. And she was like, well, you came on very strong. And she's like, I am strong. I did see she posted. I don't know. Is she coming out with merch that says I am strong? Okay. All right. Um, so it says that you came on very strong, and Bo says I am strong. Okay. All right. Bo says that she also, as I mentioned before, said that she spoke to Dorit regarding her intentional comment about Sutton's drinking. And then they get into this whole conversation on whether or not they should bring up Sutton's drinking. What I didn't understand is why didn't they talk about how talking about Sutton's drinking might be triggering when her father had a drinking problem? I thought during the reunion that they would have at least talked about that. Because yes, if you're friends with someone, you could probably joke about that stuff. But Sutton's like, I don't want anyone to joke about it. I can joke about it, but no one else can joke about it. I think that's fair. You don't want us to joke about it? Fine. You told us it's not. If I want to make a little, a comment about my drinking or self-deprecating humor, that's fine. I don't want you to make that self-deprecating, especially if I'm not your friend, especially if it's coming from Dorit, because you know that it's not a joke. You know that it is a way to kind of take a jab at Sutton. But we've seen Garcelle make jokes about Sutton's drinking. Okay. But what I don't understand is why didn't we correlate what happened in Augusta? We talked about Augusta. Sutton definitely probably had taken something during this reunion. She was very demure. She was very pulled back. Even when they showed clips of the Augusta trip and her getting emotional talking about her father during the Augusta trip, I was sort of like, her reaction in real time, it was like, yeah. Because remember, Jennifer Tilly said that during the last part of the reunion. Do you think that she was talking to Garcelle? Do you think that Sutton took something? And I was like, it made more sense to me watching her reaction. Someone on TikTok, AGJ says a Xanax. Very possible. But again, I'm not going to, put it out. It just felt like during that moment, I think a lot of us rewatching something that was so triggering to her and her childhood and who she is, and so traumatic that she would have had tears because everyone else was crying. Everyone else was emotional watching that. I just found it to be interesting that they didn't talk about why it might be triggering to Sutton being called an alcoholic. Her father was an alcoholic. You get what I mean? Like I'm so surprised that no one made that correlation. And I think Garcelle intentionally pulled back. She's like, I'm not, when they asked about, because sidebar, I also noticed too during the reunion, and this is common for Andy to ask the other housewives questions about viewers' comments and whatnot. I just felt as if, though, Andy kept on going back to Garcelle with questions about Sutton in regards to things that Sutton could have answered for herself. Anyone else notice that? I understand that happens during reunion, but it felt more than usual that Andy kept on going, having a question about Sutton and then going to. So Garcelle, what do you think about that? What? Why does Garcelle? Because you already put that on Garcelle that she's always defending Sutton. Why are we asking Garcelle not just one, not two, not three, multiple questions? And Garcelle was disengaged in part 2 and then in part 3. Just like, yeah. And I'm just watching her facial expressions. Again, we're watching an edited show. Could those facial expressions been in real time? Possibly. Or could they have been from other moments? That's also very possible. But Garcelle was definitely checked out. I just found it to be really interesting that he kept on bringing it back to Garcelle for certain questions. Like certain questions, like, I think you should have asked that to Sutton. R Bless says that was obnoxiously, there we go. And he was being messy. Yeah. Let me say thank you because we have quite a few super chats. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. We appreciate you all being here. Don't forget to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. Scotty G, thank you so much for the super chat. Scotty G says, I got my tax return this morning. Shimmy in the cubicle. I'm happy for you, Scotty G. And look, and you're spending it on us. Thank you so much, Scotty G. We appreciate it. Scotty sent another super chat. Oh, that tax return was good. Scotty says, we went through 3 parts of Kyle giving nothing, even though she felt like she gave a lot in her head. Kyle needs a break. They need to normalize that. Kyle's been on for 14 straight seasons and now doesn't want to talk about a lot of different things. And I do appreciate Andy calling her out during this reunion saying, well, you kind of alluded that Mauricio may have done something. And now you're, during the season being obtuse. It's true. Was it performative? Because did we ever really get an answer? No. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the super chat. Elizabeth says, this reunion depicts exactly what Black women go through in the workforce. How we're saving others, but disregarded at every turn. But you know what they're going to say, Elizabeth? Y'all always want to bring up race. As if that is not important to bring up. As if someone's experience in this world currently is not important to bring up. But those are probably the same people that say racism is over. Love Monica, thank you so much for the super chat. Love Monica says, for a cast that claims to have real money, these women, with the exception of Garcelle, sure are counterfeit.
Lies! The lie!
That's a lot of these housewives, to be honest with you. Sidebar, did you guys see the little commercial for Real Housewives of Miami? They're coming back. They're coming back. They didn't announce anything. It was just a little of their silhouette dancing. I'm excited for Real Housewives of Miami. I did not watch The Valley yet. I did start watching it. For those that are asking if I'm going to recap it, no promises. No promises. I'm kind of over reality television, if you haven't noticed. Elizabeth, thank you so much for another super chat. Elizabeth says, the gag is if Dorit and PK were a bit more frugal, she wouldn't be in half the mess they're in. That truly is the gag, Elizabeth. That is truly the gag. Keith, thank you so much for the super chat. Keith says, to be fair, Bo said in her confessional that she was pissed that they didn't have any couth to be at the doorway. I assume piss is a synonym for angry. Pissed for angry. Here's my thing. I agree with, I can understand where Bose was coming from. It's like, why are we all at the front door if we're at Dorit's home for a party? I can understand that. But I also understand where they're saying you don't have to come over and say, guys, get out of the foyer. You can come over and like, is something wrong? Is something going on? Okay. All right. Moving on, because I'm truly over the season. Okay. Then they go back and forth on Dorit talking about Sutton's drinking and how she commented to one of the comments about Sutton's drinking, and Dorit said in the comments, facts. And then Dorit tries to turn it on Sutton. She's like, well, you're the one. This is how I know that they spent time preparing for this reunion. Not to say that's a wrong thing to do, but the fact that Dorit was able to remember that in an interview that Sutton did back in 2020, she talks about how she starts her morning with a drink. I forgot what she said specifically. She has her first drink at 10 a.m. The fact that you were able to pull that out and now you're trying to associate that with you talking about Sutton's drinking felt weird. It felt like, girl, you talking about her drinking and her talking about during COVID when everyone else was, not me, when everyone else was drinking all the time, you associating that with being able to make a joke about Sutton's drinking, it's not landing. You are not friends with Sutton. Even if she didn't make that joke, you're not friends with Sutton. You're not free to make a joke. And honestly, I don't think that what you said was a joke. I think you wanted to take a dig at her. And again, if you just said, I wanted to take a dig at her, I apologize. I think I probably would have respected that more. I wanted to take a dig at her. I don't like her. They do talk about how Sutton kind of dragged this out and made this a bigger issue, and that ended up being the like a large part of what played out during the season, which is true. Look, Sutton, I wish you luck. I wish you luck next season. You ain't gonna have. And I appreciate Garcelle not having Sutton's back during this reunion. She tried. She definitely did try during the early parts. But after part one, Garcelle's like, you're on your own. Rightfully so. And the fact that Sutton kept on saying that they hate me. And then you didn't even go check on Garcelle when Garcelle walks off the stage. You're the one person I thought that would have went to Garcelle and said, no, Garcelle, come back, take the picture. You didn't. You remained there and you tried to have conversations with everyone else. People have been saying this about Sutton. People have been saying this about Sutton. I'm not going to deny it. All right. All right. So then they talk about Erika's comments in regards to Sutton and, hitting women, at their lowest point. Okay. Tilly says that she doesn't necessarily agree with that. She's been friends with Sutton for a very long time, but she says, maybe Sutton. This is why I said, I wish you luck, Sutton, because if you think Jennifer Tilly is going to have your back the way that Garcelle's had your back these last 5 seasons, I wish you luck, because Jennifer Tilly is not, she's not going to be a great advocate for you. Sorry. It is what it is. So, but she says, maybe questions that she asks at certain moments, poke a little bit. Erika says that she spoke to, this is where I was talking about before, when Sutton brings up the fact that I wasn't the only one asking questions during that time with the whole Tom Girardi of it all. I wasn't the only one asking questions. Okay. And she says, Dorit and Kyle, and Erika says, she's like, I cussed them out. I did that separately, conveniently, when we never saw it. Do I believe she cussed them out? Nope. I don't believe she did. And I understand Sutton and even Garcelle's confusion this season, because I think they thought, okay, we're good with Erika. We've had the conversations. We went there. We've made peace. And now she's taking all these digs during the season, which felt out of left field. Them asking questions about you, Erika, in the middle of what you're going through is not the same randomly now coming up with taking digs at them when everything is supposed to be good with you guys. Kimberly says, I hope Tilly doesn't come back. I hope for her own sake. I think she should be a one and done. I like Jennifer Tilly. I think she was fantastic. But we already know if they're not going to, Dorit, Kyle, and Erika are not going to come after each other. They're going to figure out their next target. And it could be you. And that's the last thing that you want, Jennifer Tilly. I don't think there's anything for them to come at you for, but you just never know. You saw with Kathy. You know what? I had a different feeling. Excuse me. I had a different feeling about Kathy after watching this reunion. Because, they really try to make Kathy out to be like Big Kathy. And even Big Kathy, because Kathy was sort of like, when they try to make the comparisons between Reba and Big Kathy, Kyle's mom, they were like, yeah, there was no comparison. I think people are just so used to what we've heard about Big Kathy, the book, where they talk about Big Kathy. So they were like, Big Kathy was so cuddly. And I was like, cuddly? I would have never thought that word. But again, that's their experience with their mom. Okay? So here's the thing, though. Based off of this reunion, I look at Kathy Hilton differently. Because I think a lot of people, especially Kyle, have made Kathy out to be a villain. Do I believe what happened in Aspen happened? Yes. Do I believe that there was actual footage and audio? Yes. I do. But I've said that. Do I think that Kathy got in NBC Universal's easy? I do. And that's why she gets this favorable edit now, and why she got the favorable edit during that time. But I don't think Kathy is as nasty and villainous as Kyle has made her out to be. I think Kyle is that person. Because what we've seen of Kathy this season is Kathy trying to be nothing but supportive of Kyle at every turn. And again, some might say she's overcorrecting. But I was like, is it? Or is Kyle really the one that's the problem? I mean, she is a Capricorn. But I also don't trust the Pisces. Okay. But then I kind of look at Kathy, especially when they were talking about Mauricio. Even Andy was really shocked when Kathy was just getting emotional. And Kyle confirmed, she's like, yeah, she gets really emotional about this. She wants to see, Andy was really surprised when Kathy said that she wants to see Kyle and Mauricio reconcile. And then she says, I don't like change. I don't want things to change. Sutton says, like, she wants me and Christian to get back together. And she doesn't even know. She's never even met Christian. Okay. But then I said to myself, I was like, I kind of look at Kathy different. I was like, Kathy might not be as villainous as Kyle has painted her to be. Taisha says, not me catching strays. I'm kidding, Capricorns. I'm playing. Kiara says, hold on now. I'm playing. Am I playing? Calm down. It's all right. Calm down. I'm giving you the blue ivy. Calm down. All right. Denise says, okay, yes, but not Capricorn slander. Everyone can get it over here. All right. Even Tauruses get it. Is it Taurus season yet? This has been the longest Aries season ever.
Whoa.
I'm kind of over Aries season. Not really. I've been playing with you guys. Shout out to all the Aries that have requested me on Cameo. Okay. Okay. Shar says, what about Capricorns? Why we catch a stray? I love when I do that to you guys because it catches you guys off guard. What other sign will catch a stray this afternoon? Stay tuned. So I had a different view of Kathy after watching the reunion. I was like, Kathy didn't seem so bad. Do I believe she said what she said in Aspen? I do. Yeah, I do. But I was like, you know what? The reason why Kathy and Kim have never fallen out, and it's always a fallout with Kyle. Kyle is the common denominator. Okay. That was just my thought, but we'll get back to it. All right. Anyway, moving on. So Andy asked Garcelle. Oh, so Erika says that she feels like Sutton's intent. That's her issue with Sutton in her question. She feels like, unlike Kyle and Dorit, she feels like Sutton's intent is to be malicious. Okay? And to poke. So Andy asked Garcelle whether Sutton throws tantrums, because this is a question from one of the fans, throws tantrums when people clock her behavior. And Garcelle's like, I agree. But then Garcelle says that she's just really pissed right now. And it's like, I don't feel like answering any more questions. She's like, I don't feel like answering any more questions. So Andy's like, huh? What happened? She's like, I'm really pissed right now. So we'll get to the end of this reunion. I just want to kind of get through all the nonsensical parts. Okay. So Jennifer Tilly says, she asks Garcelle why she doesn't want to answer any more questions. Tilly says to her, it's like, oh, do you believe that everyone's beating up on Sutton? Garcelle's just like, no, I'm not even concerned about Sutton right now. I'm concerned about me. I appreciate that. And the edit, if you look at the edit, it was weird because Garcelle says that, then all of a sudden we get into Sutton again, making it about her. But I felt like the edit was interesting because I don't feel like that's what happened right after that. Go back and watch it if you want to. Okay. All right. So Garcelle says she's like, I don't want to answer any more questions right now. So Sutton turns it back around to herself and says that she's not well liked in this group. Okay, girl. She's not well liked in this group. Erika says that she wants to see a friendship with Sutton, but she doesn't trust her. And Sutton says, I felt ganged up on the boat. Okay, I felt ganged up on the boat. And Erika was like, I was the only one to ask you a question. She's like, well, no, Dorit did too. Okay. All right. So before they move on, Andy wants to go back and ask Garcelle what's going on. Because he's like, you said that you were pissed off. And he's like, what specifically pissed you off? And she's like, all of it, which is not really an answer. Okay, so she says all of it. She says that she never gets any grace in this group. She says that she stands by the things that she says. She says that not one person in here looked at her or even smiled when she got there. I need to go back with you guys. In part 1, remember I mentioned to you when Kyle came in, Garcelle gave Kyle a compliment, and Kyle didn't even look at her. What happened between Kyle and Garcelle was not that deep. It wasn't warranted for Kyle to be so upset and say the things that Kyle has said about Garcelle. So I get where Garcelle's like, and again, we have to remember, we're watching an edited show, so we don't know what is happening the entire 12 hours that they're filming. So the way that Garcelle says, she says, no one even has looked at me, no one has smiled at me. And Garcelle is thinking in her head, like, this is not that deep. This is my 5th reunion. She's noticing a difference in regards to how and mind you, Garcelle has been in the hot seat at these reunions before. Garcelle hasn't had easy reunions. Okay. So Garcelle's like, no one has smiled at me. No one has even looked at me. And Kyle's just like, well, it's the reunion. It's very stressful. Like, girl, please, you get off easy. Just because you start bawling, you're carrying tears, doesn't mean that you've had a tough reunion. No one holds you truly accountable. No one holds your feet to the fire. Just because Kyle cries every single reunion and is dropping crystals every 2 seconds doesn't make it like you've had a tough reunion. No one's holding you accountable. No one's going at you at all. So please stop with it. So she says, Garcelle says that, and I remind you what I said in part 1. What we noticed in part 1 of the reunion was Kyle coming to the reunion set. Garcelle compliments her on her look, and then she mentions to Sutton, she's like, Kyle's not even looking at me. Sutton during they take a little bit of a break, and she makes a joke, and she says that you're not answering any more questions. And then she says, and then Sutton makes it about herself again. Sutton says, I can't stand them all, and they all hate me. What? Your friend just said that she's not answering any more questions, that she's pissed, that no one is smiling at her. Your friend, who has been there for you, has expressed annoyance, and you're making it about yourself. You're making it about yourself. Did anyone notice that? I've noticed that through the entire reunion. It's all about, oh, they're going to come for me. They all hate me. Okay. Okay. All right. So they come back. Dorit says that she thinks about, they start talking about dating, the women's dating life and things like that. So Dorit says she thinks about dating, but she isn't dating. Bo says that Dorit needs a pretty young thing. Erika says, I thought you meant something else. Okay. Tilly says that in her, because they talk about Garcelle's roster, her body count. They said body count as opposed to roster. And I wish they would have dug more into the whole, I guess you've peaked comment that Erika made. Garcelle was just done. She was just like, yeah, maybe I peaked. Maybe I peaked. Okay. So Tilly says that she has only dated, she doesn't have any famous people to mention, anyone big to mention that would help her secure a bigger advance on her autobiography. She says that she's dated a lot of character actors and comedians. And you notice what Erika says? She's like, oh, but it all worked out good for you. Because she's talking about the Sam Simon from, the Simpsons legacy. She's talking about it, but it worked out good for you. Erika can't help. That's Erika's depth of understanding. She only sees dollar signs and material. That's probably why she gets along so well with Dorit. That's all she can see. Did anyone else clock that comment? That's what she meant. She was referring to the Sam Simon of it all. But it worked out. It worked out good for you, unlike her, where she's left with nothing that we know of. All right. Speaking of Erika, then they talk about Erika's son being in the ASAP Rocky trial, and she says she's just happy that he was able to do, come out on his own in his own way. Fine. He was an officer, a part of a trial. I don't feel like he really was trying to get popularity or he was in a case that was very public. Okay. So Erika says that the Tom drama actually brought her and her son a lot closer. And she admits that her and her son had been estranged before this. She didn't talk about this before, but again, she didn't want to talk about her son. Here's the thing. Erika still could talk about her son without having him be on the show. She could talk about, well, my son and I are estranged. That never came up. That hasn't come up before. I can understand not talking about your son or your son being on the show, but he is a part of your life, or lack thereof. You could have mentioned a long time ago that, yeah, my son and I are estranged. Or when he came back into your life, oh, this has definitely brought me and my son a lot closer since the time of it all. That never came up, ever. We don't need to see your son or have your son on the show for you to at least mention that. It brought us a lot closer. So we find out during this reunion that her and her son have been estranged for, right before the Tom stuff. She says the Tom stuff actually brought them together. Wonderful. Okay. Fine. Fitch on TikTok says, no, you respect your child's wishes. It brings attention to him. If you're a parent, you get it. Well, no, I don't think it brings attention to him regardless. It's not like she hasn't mentioned him on the show before. And she's mentioning him on the show now. So how is that different? Just saying, yes, he was in the trial, but they could have skipped over that. That wasn't anything. Exactly. Keisha says, well, don't mention him at all. Like, you didn't need to mention the ASAP Rocky trial at all. It's not like we didn't know what he looked like before. We all knew who her son was and what he looked like. But okay. All right. Moving on. Danny says, I think she said not estranged, but not talking. Bit confusing. I thought she said estranged, but maybe she just said not estranged, but not talking. That is confusing, but that's Erika. But all right. Anyway, moving on. They talk about them taking Erika to Chuck E. Cheese, and she said for a slight second she thought that they were making fun of her. Then they talk about the therapist saying, the behavior from the past years didn't deserve. It wasn't pizza party behavior. We can appreciate that. Okay. Erika says. So they talk about Erika not getting a divorce. So I was under the impression that Erika did not get a divorce because legally she couldn't, because of all the things that were going on, that they would not allow her to get divorced because of all the financial crimes and things that were going on. That was my understanding when the stuff started going down. But apparently she could technically now get a divorce. So she says just like, she hasn't thought about divorcing him. She's like, that's the least of her problems. And it's just like, how do you divorce someone that isn't all there? We also find out that Tom, as you know, has been convicted. We already knew that. But Tom is seeking hospitalization over prison. How convenient. Are we surprised? Who here believes that Tom is not all there? Raise your hand. Or you think he's playing like besides him actually being, 80-something years old with, the cognitive decline that happens when you get older for some. Ain't gonna be us, right? Right. So hospitalization over a prison. I was like, really? How convenient for him after stealing millions and millions of dollars from victims that will forever not see their money. But okay. Angel says Tom should be under the jail. But okay. She says in regards to visiting Tom, she's like, he's not there. He's not there. So she doesn't want to visit him. She said maybe when he passes away. Oh, okay. She says, so when asked about, could you remember a lot during the whole Tom of it all? Erika says, how about we wait for all the facts to come out? So a viewer says, well, now that everything's over, he's been convicted. What do you have to say? Because you kept on saying, wait till the facts come out. She's like, it doesn't matter what I think, what the law does. Also, yet again, Erika is not going to weigh in. Okay. But yet she is fighting for earrings that were clearly, factually bought with victim money. But we don't want to, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to, so she still is not going to talk about it. Wait for all the facts to come out. Wait for all the facts to come out, y'all. I thought that all the facts came out, including that those earrings were bought with victim money. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's not alleged. That's a fact. There's a receipt. Okay? Trey says, what about the facts of that Marco lawsuit? That's back in the news. I mean, if Erika comes back and they completely ignore that, oof. All right. Let me say thank you because we had quite a few super chats. Thank you guys so much. You can also support the channel just by liking the video. We have almost 2,700 of you watching on YouTube alone. But shout out to those almost 300 of you watching on TikTok. Those of you watching on Twitch and Twitter, we appreciate you all being here. Keep sharing, keep liking, and don't forget you can hear an audio version of our live recaps on the Kempire podcast. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to our new Apple Podcast subscription, Club Kempire. I did release a new episode that wasn't the White Lotus related, but if you wanted to hear all my White Lotus recaps, you can hear it there. But if you're a member here, Royal Court members and up, you'll be able to hear our not just hear, but watch our White Lotus recaps here on YouTube if you're a member, Royal Court members and up. However, Royal Court members, you will only have access till the end of today. I actually made it a lot longer than I originally was going to. It will only be available for senior royals on YouTube to watch our recaps. But if you're a Club Kempire member, you can hear all of those recaps there. Okay. All right. Tamia, thank you so much for super chat. Tamia says, Garcelle gave them, I'm just here so I won't get fined energy. I mean, she showed up for the reunion. She would have gotten paid regardless. But she's like, I'm not going to sit here and take a photo with all you people. We'll get to that. Kayla, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. Kayla says, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills have the black girl who will be there, Steven, fetch it, because it will never be the Garcelle. Tish, thank you so much for the super chat. Tish says, Erika should honestly thank Garcelle and Sutton. Them asking her questions gave her more camera time. We said that week after week, but people won't hear that. It's fine. Christina, thank you so much for the super chat. Christina says, please leave us Aquarius out of it. I didn't even say Aquarius. But now that we're talking about... No, I'm playing. Speaking of Aquariuses, I see that Kenya Moore is going to be doing her own live... Well, not live. I think it's going to be filmed. Confessional on Friday on her YouTube channel. You know, we talked about that yesterday. So... that's the update. She released a video. Let me find out that Kenya bought a ticket to our virtual New York City show. Because if you were at the New York City show or you had the virtual ticket, you saw what I came out to. I mean, everyone came out to, but I thought it was interesting. All right, Rahina, thank you so much for the super chat. Rahina says, what's wrong with Aries season, Kempire? Listening through the bushes while I see patience. I just feel like it's too long. And I said what I said. Buko, thank you so much for being a member, and thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate your support. Lonnie Music, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate your support, and thank you so much for being a member as well. All right. Keith, thank you so much for another super chat. Keith says, I'm distraught that Garcelle didn't read them down. We talked about this, Keith. Garcelle's not a reader, okay? I'm distraught that Garcelle didn't read them down, Sutton included. Mind you, she all lunch break to get her reads together. Oh, she had all lunch break to get her reads together. If you're going to quit on a high note. Well, we talked about that last week too. I said she should have cussed them all out and then left. But that's not Garcelle, okay? I I did see that, Soraya. Soraya says that, by the way, Nini's new episode is out. Don't waste your time, Kim. Damn, it was bad. Oh, damn, Soraya, I didn't expect that. Was it bad? Look, can we talk real quickly? It's still Real Housewives related. I saw the trailer for Nini's interview with Latasha, and she's reading down at her cards, and I'm just like, Nini. It's okay to look down at your cards and be reminded of questions, but she's reading right off the card. And then, why is she asking Latasha, so who's the youngest in the group? Who cares who's the youngest in the escape group? What are we... Okay, anyone else, let me know if it's worth watching. Please weigh in, because I'm just like, okay. Let me see. Okay, Elijah says it wasn't bad. Okay, Elijah, I'll trust your opinion. SEM, thank you so much for the super chat. SEM says Bose might get that Dr. Wendy treatment, coming in and siding with the mean girls only to eventually become the target. I mean, I don't hope that for her, to be honest with you, because she still is a black woman. I don't hope that for her because, you know, even if not only will Bose become the target from these women, she'll become the target of that fan base. I don't wish that for her. Alma, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Alma says Erika, Dorit, and Kyle bullies getting karma for Denise. And now Denise is doing quite well with her own reality show. Norma, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. Norma says, incredibly insulting to insinuate that Garcelle could be bought. Yet, remember when Porit was so far up Jamie Lee Curtis's ASS, saying chic, so chic. Yeah, Chocolate Soul, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. Chocolate Soul says, off topic, Kempire, I watched Mid-Century Modern, first episode, I thought meh, but by the fourth episode, I was captivated. I'm surprised it took you that long. But no, it's such a good season. And I talked about it during our Club Kempire recap this week. So be sure to check that out. Let me see. DC Diva says, at this point, Garcelle is booked, busy, and unbothered. She's paying all those girls dust. Cue Kenya Moore blowing away dust. Here's the thing, though. I want to say this before I forget saying this. Garcelle used the platform for what it was, to catapult her to other audiences, very much like what I see Bose is doing. Nothing wrong with that. But I do think after 5 years of doing so, remember, this is months out of their lives. Yes, 3 to 4 months of filming, but then months later, they're still filming confessionals. That kind of schedule does interfere with Garcelle and doing other opportunities. Although Garcelle has done other things, but keep in mind, she's talking about her kids are going to be graduating. This is their last year of high school. Like, to me, it makes more logistical sense. She's able to do more with her family, but still be able to do those other jobs, those other opportunities that were coming in that she's like, I can't because I'm filming Real Housewives during that time. So for me, it was also, I'm done with this. I'm done with reality television. I'm done with this group. But now I'm just like, okay, I have so many other things that I could be doing right now. All right. Millie, thank you so much for the super chat. Millie says, watching Dorit be so smug annoyed me. It was hard to watch. Yeah, she's smug until she's, broke again. But she is broke. Or whatever. All right. Moving on. God, there's so much more to talk about here. Okay, let me move on. If you're a member of the channel, I am going to drop the call-in link for you guys. Let me do it now before I forget, but I still have a lot more to talk about. So feel free if you want to hang out backstage, but I won't be getting to the callers just yet. Let me just do this right now before I forget, and keep voting live chat on your thoughts on how you would rate this week's episode of the reunion. Okay, let me just do this. Drop this on the community tab for all members. Okay, please hold. All right. Sorry. So if you're a member, I've dropped the calling for you guys. Live chat, I will drop the calling for you guys when we get to 1,000 likes. Okay. All right. Moving on from there. Where are my notes? There we go. Okay. So then they talk about Sutton's Augusta trip. And as I said to you before, Sutton's reaction to the Augusta trip in the moment felt very muted. And again, that goes back to what I think Tilly was saying in regards to did she take something right before the reunion? Probably. Okay. You know, I'm sure anxiety riddles these women when they do a reunion. Okay. Okay. So Sutton talks about how her and Reba have not talked about the episodes. Okay. Thank you, TJ. TJ says, don't forget your water, Kemp. I will. Right after this Augusta trip stuff we're going to talk about, I'm going to take a little bit of a break and get my water. Thank you for caring, TJ. No one else does. Selfish. All right. So they talk about the Augusta trip. Sutton says that her and Reba have not talked about the episodes. I don't know if I believe that, but fine. She says she's supposed to be going to Augusta, so maybe they'll talk about it then. I don't believe that they will. Okay. AGJ says, TJ from RHOBH, that you? No. No. Okay. What else do they talk about? Oh, so they talk about Garcelle having the conversation with Reba, and everyone was like, oh my God, Garcelle, you were so brave for doing that. And she's like, well, you know what? Reba was actually really sweet. And Kyle said it too. She's like, yeah, she was really sweet and very funny. And Garcelle said, you know, she felt motivated to do that because of unanswered questions that she had with her own father. And that's why she felt the need to. Garcelle really showed up as a friend to Sutton. I think that's why it's so disheartening that Sutton could not even just show up for Garcelle during this reunion. I get it. I get it. So Kyle says that in regards to fans saying that they felt like there may have been similarities between Big Cat. Mind you, I don't know how as fans we can say there were similarities between Big Kathy and Reba. We've never met Big Kathy. The only thing that we know about Big Kathy is from that book. So I could never be like, oh, she's very much like Big Kathy. Unless Kyle or Kathy says it, I'm not going to make that comparison. We've never met Big Kathy. So even Kathy's like, yeah, they're not the same. She's like, she says that their mom was cuddly. I don't know if I believe that, but again, I'm basing that off the book. All right. So Erika does talk about how she did see her grandmother, her late grandmother in Reba. She's like, you know, that old Southern woman. And some of you, even if you weren't a white person, you're like, no, that's very Southern older woman mentality that you saw in Reba. And I was like, oh, okay. As someone that's visited the South, I've definitely seen a lot of older Southern white women, more specifically, that are very much like Kathy. I mean, not Kathy, Reba. Okay. But Garcelle says that, you know, her driving force for having that conversation with Reba was because of the unanswered questions that she had with her own father. All right. So they come back from commercial and they talk about Teddy Mellencamp's cancer diagnosis. And Andy asked the group, you know, who has reached out to Teddy. And Kyle talks about all the people that reached out, including Bose reached out, and they asked Dorit. I know Teddy went on her podcast and said Garcelle didn't reach out to her. I can respect not reaching out to someone that you don't like. For me, it doesn't mean that you wish them ill, but if you don't like them, you don't talk to them like that. You also don't want to come across disingenuous. I told you guys this. I don't even know Teddy. And I know we've dragged Teddy here on the channel. No, we dragged Teddy. But even we wished her well from afar. I told you, I thought about sending her a DM, like, you know, wishing you well and speedy recovery. But I didn't send it because I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't know her like that. You know what I mean? So I didn't reach out. Again, I don't know her. I didn't film with her. Still, I thought about it. But I didn't. And again, I don't think that Garcelle wishes ill feelings for her during this time. I don't think so. But I did find it interesting, Teddy pointing out all the people that didn't reach out, including Dorit at one particular point did not reach out. Dorit said in the reunion that she's like, you know, she's in the thick of it. So I didn't think about reaching out to her. I don't think it takes that much, Dorit, to send a text. Your excuse for not reaching out to her, that seems strange. And that's supposed to be a friend, not a best friend, but a friend. That's a best friend to someone you consider a close friend. I found that to be interesting. Natty says that I think Andy could tell that Garcelle had checked out, and that's why he kept bringing her into the conversation. Well, he could have brought her into the conversation that had nothing to do with defending Sutton, but you might be right. Okay. Okay. So they talk about that. Dorit says because Teddy's in the thick of it, she didn't reach out. Okay, girl. All right. On that note, guys, don't forget we have partnered with our friends. Mother's Day is literally right around the corner. I know some of you don't realize that, but it's less than a month away. And these roses you can get right now, and they will still be fresh and smelling fresh for Mother's Day and way past at least a year. Okay. So I shared with you my more. Do you realize that Mother's Day is less than a month away? Have you even thought about what you're going to get your mother? Well, we are partnering yet again with our friends over at Rose Forever. Roses that will last you at least a year. I've partnered with them multiple times, and I have so many of their roses. I've even given them away as gifts. And the last time that we partnered with Rose Forever, it was during Valentine's Day. And look at these roses. And they still have their wonderful rosy scent. But shout out to our friends at Rose Forever. They don't just have roses anymore. They have candles. They have even things for the brides. Because some of you are getting married this spring. Just saying. They also have hydrangeas. There's all kinds of new assortments. You can see behind me, I have some roses. If you were here in my apartment, if you are a friend of mine, I've gifted Rose Forever to you guys. And some of you have had your roses for more than a year. But Rose Forever promises that for at least a year, you will have high quality, wonderful smelling, beautiful roses in your home. And please understand, this is a flower arrangement that your mother will love. Your mother will always look down and say, oh, my child got that for me, or my coworker got that for me, or my favorite nephew got that from me, or my favorite niece got that from me, or my favorite goddaughter or godson. Yup. Roses work for anyone. I can't tell you how I feel walking into my home and I have a Rose Forever bouquet at my front door or somewhere in my home, on my kitchen island, or here in the studio. Because the studio can be just a workspace, but as you can see, it can liven up any workspace, any room in your home, including your bathroom. So even if you're not looking for something for Mother's Day, or maybe you want to get a Mother's Day gift for yourself, of course, get Rose Forever. As always, more information on Rose Forever and our link will be available in the description. Thanks, Rose Forever. And welcome back, guys. So let's talk about Kyle and Mauricio's relationship. Or let's not, because there isn't much that is learned from this. Because Andy Cohen points out how it felt as if Kyle hinted at something during the last reunion. We don't know if it's infidelity. I did find it interesting that she feels as if maybe Mauricio, he hasn't said to her that he wants to get back together. And it feels like Mauricio is sowing his wild oats at this particular point, because they've been together for 30 years. And, you know, during his formative years, he didn't get to go out there and party and do all the things that he's doing now. So I did find it interesting, her explanation saying that, you know, a lot of people want to know whether or not the reality show ended their marriage. And she's like, no, he was nothing but supportive during the reality show, and that their relationship was very strong during the reality show. But then she says that, you know, with the reality show came opportunities, came the building of the agency and traveling and all this stuff. And then women, she's like, women are snakes. You would know. I guess women flirting with Mauricio. So I don't understand. I felt like she talked in circles. So what was the reason? Is you're the one who wanted the separation. He didn't want the separation. You wanted the separation. He got the separation, and now he's sowing his wild oats. And then she insinuated, I know all the crumbs. What crumbs? You know all the crumbs, yet you still have said a bunch of nothing to all of us. So even after we ask you a direct question, we're still trying to understand So you guys are getting a divorce because Mauricio wants to sow his wild oats, but you asked for the separation. Then you also told us that there was something that he did that broke your trust, but it wasn't cheating.
Lies! The lie!
They also talk about Sutton talking about Mauricio cheating. Again, Andy redirects the question to Garcelle. What did you think about Sutton talking about, bringing up about Mauricio cheating? Well, during the uncensored version, I do see that Kyle talks more about it in regards to Sutton doing that, and she felt like that Sutton did that intentionally. Because I didn't see that in the Bravo version. So I'm assuming that was just the extended part of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. You're not missing anything. You don't need to get Peacock. I just told you what happened. There really wasn't a lot in the uncensored and extended version of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. So, a fan asked, I mentioned this before, I'm just going to mention it again. A fan asked the question in regards to Kyle's behavior, and there's like, you know, a comment that she made. It's just a reminder that Kyle feels like she's an exception to the group. And then she was like, F off to that fan. And Dorit was had her back on that one. No, not F off to the fans. This is how the majority of the fans feel. You feel like you're above answering questions. And every season you're going to be like, well, I've shared so much, but okay, that's fantastic. You shared a lot over the years. Yes, you shared all the drama with your family. Thank you for your services. We're good. We're good. If I see another reunion trailer with Kyle crying in the reunion, I swear I'm going to throw something at my television. Kyle in these tears, these crocodile tears at this point. Libra String says, why? Hold on, let me bring this comment up. Libra String says, why the black women are responsible for everything each other says, but not the whole woman? That's a question to ask Andy. So Kyle does talk about being an empty nester. The kids are getting older. Portia has like another year or so in school. And they're talking about, would you move out of that house? And she's like, well, I thought about it. I even looked at a house across the street from LVP. This is where I was like, Kyle, this doesn't make any sense. It's not like LVP lives across the street from a condo that I know of. I don't believe so. Why would you move to another house? Is the house much smaller than the one you have now? And our house now is fairly big, but why would you be looking at another mansion across the street? If you were, unless you just wanted to downgrade, I mean, like, move out of a house that reminds her of Mauricio. I just found that to be weird. I think she just said that to say something. She's like, oh yeah, I even went there and with my contractor and looked, and Andy was like, you gotta do it for season 15. We don't want to see her for season 15. Andy, we're over Kyle. Tiff says LVP ain't stunting you. So wait, Mr. Mello imagines that Ken Mora across the street. She says the house has memories. I get it. So she's gonna move across the street from LVP. Come on now. Jasmine says that LVP stays rent free in Kyle's head. Yeah. All right. Was there anything else that I wanted to mention in regards to Kyle's segment? By the time we get to this reunion, first of all, Kyle and Mauricio have not even talked about filing for divorce. There's your update. So I guess for next season, she will file. Don't be surprised in the next couple of months, someone files for divorce. Doesn't mean that they have to go through with the divorce. They will file for divorce, and that will be her storyline. All right. So then she also insinuates like we women have our ways and we're able to find out things. And I was able to find out a lot of stuff. But she was like, I want to emphasize what I found out was when we were separated. Oh my gosh, she's exhausting. She is exhausting. Oh my goodness. All right. Andy then asked Garcelle what she thought of when okay, we talked about it anyway. Then Andy asked Kyle about what she was alluding to. We talked about that too. All right. I'm just making sure I got all my notes. Then they talk about Kyle questioning her sexuality. Here's my response to that. So apparently Kyle had a conversation with her daughters about it, and they were very supportive no matter what. She never said that she was gay or bisexual. She just says that what did she say? Oh, she says that she was questioning, which is a part of the LGBT community, LGBTQIA, the Q, questioning. So welcome to the community. Welcome, Kyle, to the community. I'm coming out. I want the world to know. Got to, got to let it show. It's a new me coming now. Oh. Yeah. Yes, questioning. Okay. No, it's for queer. Okay. All right. Anyway. Yeah. So all I have to say to Kyle is this. If you want to be a lesbian, be a lesbian. We really honestly do not care. You're probably the least concerned person that we even care about when it comes to coming out. You want to come out, girl, come out. You don't want to come out, don't come out. But now she's gonna probably be pissed that we said that. I really don't care. Teresa said, okay, Teresa, you're lucky this is still in here.
You did a great job.
Set me free. You're set free. Okay, girl? All right. All right, let's get to the end of this reunion because I see we have people backstage, right? Yeah, we do. Hey, shout out to everyone backstage. If you're a member of the channel, I've dropped the call link for you guys. Live chat, we're almost at 1,000 likes. Once we get to 1,000 likes, I will drop the call link for you guys as well. And Steffi says, be who you are for your pride. Yes, come on now. Pride month is a month away. Well, a month and a half away. And the same way that we raised $500 for a Set Me Free song, we better raise $2,000 for the LGBTQIA Center here in New York City for June. I see you, Miss Esquire. All right. What was I saying? All right. So they end the reunion, okay, by making a toast. They get up, they make the toast. They say, okay, and now let's take the reunion picture. Garcelle says, I'm out. I'm done. And she walks off. And Dorit is just like, Garcelle, that is so unprofessional. And Garcelle's like, I don't care. I don't want to be a part of the cast photo. Honestly, I don't blame her. And Garcelle goes back to her room and she tells the cameraman to get out. And then we hear on the hot mic that Garcelle says, when have I ever told the cameraman to leave or to get out? I'm always a team player. That is her frustration. She is always a team player and she feels like she never gets grace with this group. This is not just what happens at this reunion. This is what people have been saying about what's been happening with Garcelle with these women since her first season. This isn't just about this reunion. This was just the cherry on top. So Garcelle goes back to her room and she's like, get out. I'm done. And then she's backstage and she's sharing her frustration. She's like, I can't have my feelings. I own what I've said and I get no grace for it. What stood out to me though, Garcelle can have her feelings. Do I wish Garcelle would have just left on a high note? I do. But for a lot of people, she did leave on a high note. But I can also understand why Garcelle's like, I'm not going to sit here and smile with these people when she says backstage, I don't trust them. I don't trust these people. She's like, none of them are my friends. I was like, okay. So Garcelle's like, I'm done. And what stood out to me was the fact that no one actually went and checked on her. And some people might say, well, Sutton did. We don't know how long it took for Sutton to go and meet with Garcelle. For Garcelle to go back to her room, be able to change, get into her SUV and be out of there before anyone came knocking on her door. If they really wanted Garcelle to be a part of that cast photo, someone, not one person, all they did was speculate. What's going on with Sutton? Everyone kept on asking Sutton, what's wrong? I don't know. I mean, she's very unhappy. Bose is like, unhappy with life. What's going on? And then Erika's just like, you've taken it so hard here, reunion after reunion. Kyle's like, oh, we didn't smile at her. It's a reunion. What do you expect? What she went through at this reunion is child's play. Kyle, I'm gonna clock you again. You keep making these microaggressive comments, and you don't realize that they're microaggressive, but they are. Stop comparing your experience on this platform in comparison to hers. It's not the same. Stop. So she makes that comment. But again, what stood out to me was that no one, you just proved her point. She's like, she doesn't trust them. None of these people are my friends. None of these people like me. Not one person, not even the one person that is supposed to be her friend, said, guys, before we take the picture, let me just go check up on Garcelle. Let me see if I can bring Garcelle back. No one did that. And then when Sutton finally did go back there, she's like, she left? We were supposed to have supper together. Girl, this is not about you or your supper. And can you imagine this reunion probably could have changed if all of them went back there and checked on Garcelle. Remember, at the end of the season, Garcelle was like, I want to be in a good place with everyone. And this is why she had pulled back from being so defensive for Sutton. She's just like, I want to be, because she noticed that Sutton did not have her back. So she says, I want to be in a better place with the rest of these women. And I told you, word on the street, Garcelle came into this reunion not expecting to quit. She was ready to come back next season. Word on the street. It was the reunion that made her quit. And for those that keep saying, well, I don't understand what happened at the reunion. Again, you're watching an edited show. For all we know, everyone saw how when Garcelle quit, how everyone said, we're not going to watch this show anymore. We're not going to watch this show anymore. So many people have said that. Do they mean it? We shall see. So please understand, you're watching an edited show. So if it feels confusing in regards to it feels like something's missing here, there is. There is. All right, I'm done. I'm done. Look, I'm done. Like Garcelle, I'm done talking. I'm so glad the season's over. So for those that keep asking, are you going to recap the Valley? No, I need a break for the Bravo universe. Yeah, y'all still have me for Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's about it. They can promote their own show. Okay, they're not gonna use my platform to promote it. All right. Let me say thank you because we had quite a few super chats. So let me just say, Missy, thank you so much for the super chat. Missy says, G has a career outside, Garcelle has a career outside of Beverly Hills. Why ruin her reputation on women who are aging like milk? Mr. Melon Magic, thank you for the super chat, says, to me, Garcelle's issue is that some people say anything and can be forgiven. Meanwhile, they harp on her about things. Plus, RHOBH Jr. didn't defend her. Yeah. Missy, thank you for another one. Missy says, excuse me, spelled long, trying to work and listen. It's okay, Missy. We appreciate the support. High Vibe, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. High Vibe says, I agree, Kempire, that Garcelle has used Beverly Hills well. Kyle and Erika are envious of her success because they can't compete with her talent. They will do the same to Bose. That's my prediction. Laughing out loud. Missy, thank you for another one. Excuse my spelling. I'm rushing to type. It's okay, Missy. You didn't have to send another super chat. I understood. Keith, thank you so much for the super chat. Kyle said, he says, I'm tired of Kyle speaking in tongues. Spit it out. If this was Kempire After Dark, Keith, I was going to say something else, but I will leave it in my head. Elsie, thank you so much for the super chat. Elsie says, wasn't Kyle engaged when she met Mauricio? Oh, I don't. Well, she was married before. I don't know if there was any overlap. I don't know. I can't remember, nor do I care at this point. Scotty, thank you so much for the super chat. Another one. LVP was in the press saying that she'd come back to the show. I think it's a soft launch. She's not coming back. Because I literally just saw someone ask her that question the other day. She's like, no. Scotty says, TJ is right. I'm reporting fake news. Come on. I know. I was like, I've seen her recently be asked that question. I was like, he said no. Rahina, thank you so much for the super chat. Rahina says, also, they do not like Garcelle. I think she's right about that. Which is okay. Would you want any of these women to like you? No. Jamie, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Jamie says, coming to the realization of who your friends truly are is the epitome of growth. It's so true. I've had that, but I had that in my 20s. But not everyone does. But I'm just saying, like, I had that epiphany like in my late 20s. I was just like, if I don't really show up for these friends don't really show up for me. And ever since then, like, my friend group went from being like a bunch of friends to like a handful. And when I say handful, like a small handful of friends when I had that realization. Oh, sorry, Jay. Jay, thank you so much for student. Jay says, Sutton is a sorry friend. Agreed. And she's not going to have any support next season. Gary, thank you so much for super chat. Gary says, I was waiting for the context Bose said. Gary said, I was waiting for the, quote, context Bose said that we'd get. Again, she's talking about the unedited version. So I don't know what the context she's talking about, because maybe she was waiting for them to show everything. Like I said in my original report. And again, they did not show everything, which is their right. This is part of the reason why usually when I get tea, I'm like, again, I can't control what they're going to show and what they're not going to show. But I stand on what I said. Okay. All right. Let me get to these callers. All right. Again, the opinions of the callers do not represent the opinions of myself, TheKempire LLC, or our sponsors. They agreed to abide by our time limit. Our time limit today will be 30 seconds. I will be dropping the call-in link for our general audience as well. Shout out to all of you that are here. Keep liking the video if you haven't already. Okay, let me just drop this link for the general audience. And for those that are, once you state your opinion and you're done, please drop out so that other people can call in. All right. Jan says, I couldn't do reality television. All those relationships are transactional. Purple Yellow says, it just feels like we're missing a lot. Yep. Okay, let me move on, because after this, I will be done with talking about Beverly Hills. Thank God. And I actually look forward to Real Housewives of Miami. Please don't fail me now, Miami. Don't fail me now. Be the light, fun energy that we need. All right, shout out to everyone watching on Twitch and Twitter as well. Social Deviant is watching on Twitter. She says, you look so much better on Twitch. I know, because I'm streaming in 4K. And I don't think people realize that. Follow me on Twitch, TheKempire. You can watch me on Twitch. I'm streaming in 4K there. Social Deviant says, you look so much better here. I don't know how I should take that, but okay. Oh, hey. Shushang Yu says, I love you, Kempire. You got influence. I'm watching you every day when I'm in the gym from China. I want to come to China. I want to do some shopping in China. Right? Like TikTok? Come on. I'm ready to come to China. All right. Okay. Let me get to the callers. I know they're waiting patiently behind the scenes, and I've been talking for an hour and a half. Who would have thunk it? All right, Daylin's backstage. We're going to bring Daylin up first. Let me just put up my banner, because I said I was going to do that, and I did not. Let me put up my banner. Again, guys, don't forget you can hear an audio version of our live recaps on the Kempire podcast, along with the Club Kempire special paid subscription as well, where I talked about the White Lotus and some other hot tea this week. So become a member today. There is a free 3-day trial. There we go. Taurus Moon says, I want to shop in China. Me too. Me too. And Kira says, hey, China. See? All right, let's bring up Dalen. Dalen, what did you want to share? Dalen, we can hear you.
Hi, Kempire. How
Oh,
are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh my God. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First, I'm gonna say Garcelle is that girl. Kyle, goodbye. And she owes the community an apology because for me personally, it was very hard to come out to my family, and it's still hard for them to like grasp me as a person.
Mm,
So I feel like she's playing on that, and it's really hard for other people as well.
mm.
And I need Dorit to take acting classes to be a better villain because you were trying so hard for a moment. And Bose is the new 8.5 because they needed a black woman to manipulate to get Garcelle up out of here. And Erica, get ready to join Karen, possibly. Clankety clank.
Oh, damn. Dalen. Not clankety clank. Alma says, go get a Birkin Kempire. Well, there's that big one, the one that you see a lot of guys wear. Well, not a lot of guys, but no, there's a lot of sportsnistas, those sports guys that have the little big Birkin. I want that. I don't care about it saying it's from Hermes. I just want the bag. It's cute. All right. Elijah's backstage. We're going to bring Elijah up next. Elijah, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
I wanted to say that for me, like towards the middle of the reunion, I got over it. Like I didn't even want to watch anymore. I fast forwarded through most of the Kyle, Wade, Morgan stuff. I'm just tired of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's become boring and insufferable. And I think that they thought having Dorit as the lead villain would eat, and it's really not. It's making the show unwatchable. And so, in my opinion, either they need to keep Dorit and bring somebody to end the hell out of her so she can, stay mute for the rest of her remainder on the show, or they need to take her and her broke best friend off the show because it's annoying. I don't want to talk about Kyle Wade anymore. They need to go, and I'm sad for how they did Garcelle. And Sutton is a terrible friend. Let me just say that.
Oh, thanks, Elijah. I think we all can agree with that. Everyone else aside, Sutton, you did Garcelle dirty. You need to go back and watch this reunion, how you just did not show up for her. And maybe because you were on anti-anxiety meds. Maybe that's what it was. Okay. All right. Brandy's backstage. Brandy, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
Well, how are you?
Good. I just wanted to say that Bose was telling the cast, like, you guys haven't seen me angry, but if they would have rolled the tape back, she said, I'm pissed that
Mm,
they're standing by the door. So it's like, which one is it? And Kyle looking all surprised when Sutton was like, you and Mo had infidelity. And she keeps saying she don't want anybody to talk about Mo. She don't want anybody to talk about Morgan because of her kids. It's like, girl, your kids are grown as hell. Like, what are
mm,
you talking about?
mm.
So that's it.
Thank you, Brandy.
You're welcome.
Just to clarify, Bo says that this group has never seen her yell. Look, see, I'm fair. Okay. All right. We have Taurus with the Titania. What's going on?
Camp, hey, don't sell out my alias.
Oh,
um,
sorry.
um,
Taurus with the
I just
T.
thank you. Love you so much, Kim. I have not watched the episode yet because those ladies are not about to ruin my Wednesday. So I just tuned into your recap real quick while I was meeting with my supervisor. Um, and I just want to say that Dorit is cursing like she just learned how to curse. It's very aggravating the way how she's forcing it, and the way how she tried to approach Garcelle when she left the stage, talking about that's unprofessional. Dorit, have you ever told Erika or Kai when they have stormed off set when they were being held accountable that what they're doing is unprofessional? No. And it's because you are a lapdog. You will always be a lapdog. And I hope to see you go. Speak her. Take her for everything that she has.
Thank you so much, Taurus with the T.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Sage. Wait, Taurus with the T, are you still there? You were meeting with your manager while you were listening to us? Taurus with the T. Tanya. I guess she left. Okay. All right, Sage, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire.
Hey.
So I'm just gonna preface this that I am also a Haitian Sag Queen. I
Oh.
am a rising Leo, and the rest of my chart is all Sagittarius. So
Oh.
yeah, I know, very chaotic. But I did resonate with Garcelle. Like as a Sag, I feel like we're not the best at expressing ourselves, but we are very observant and very, very sensitive. So I don't know, watching her, I was like, dang, is this how I am? Because I definitely shut down when I'm upset. And I'm gonna storm off just like she did, and you're not gonna get a picture out of me. I'm gonna be a little passive aggressive and keep it moving. So I definitely resonated with her in that moment.
Thank you for giving us that perspective.
You're welcome.
Bye. Because I was wondering, because I don't really know a lot of Sagittariuses like that. So I was wondering if that was, because I honestly, like I probably did the same thing, if we're gonna be honest. All right, Norma's backstage. We're gonna bring Norma up. Norma, it's been a while, I think, like since you've called in. Norma, you're muted. Norma.
Oh, shit. I was talking. Oh, sorry. I was talking. I'm like, oh my God, I only have 30 seconds. You know, Garcelle walking up, I think one of the reasons she was upset is that she spoke her truth, yet Bose was saying to Kyle, if you feel a certain way, just got to own it. And she owns her truth and nobody supports her. And, you know, her kids have been fair game. The way they treated Oliver on Vanderpump Rules, making him out to look like some sleazy guy. I saw him at Paris Hotel restaurant or whatever in Vegas. That man was so kind, hardworking, and just the sweetest man you can ever see. And the way they treated him. So, you know, Erika needs to take a seat. But real quick, Dorit is not accountable. You know, she's talking about how Sutton goes after her with low blows, but what about this whole comment about living on the main street? If anybody knows LA, Bel Air is not on a main street. There is no main street on Bel Air. You got to go up in the hills. Next time you come, I will take you,
Okay.
and I'm gonna show you. And 3 more days till tourist season.
Oh,
Bye.
thank
Love you all.
God.
Hit the like button.
Thank you,
Bye.
Norma.
Bye.
Bye. Thank God, 3 more days. That was like music to my ear. Sorry, Aries. All right, Tisha's backstage. Tish, what did you want to share?
Well, go on, Kempire.
Hey.
Hey, okay, really quick, because I know I'm short on time.
Uh-huh.
I agree with you. Andy was treating Garcelle like a sidekick. Every time he asked her about Sutton, I got offended. Next, I'm so glad that Garcelle started looking out for herself. I love to quote my mom because she's a very wise woman, but she always taught me, if I'm looking out for you and you're looking out for you, who's looking out for me? And that was so real for me in that moment for Garcelle, because when you're a selfless person, you can't be friends with selfish people, which brings me back to Sutton. Sutton was being so self-centered. Every single time she brought it back to her, Garcelle would literally be eaten up. And then Sutton's like, well, I'm next. Like, why not check on your friend? And then really quick, sorry, as a Black woman in America, I am really glad that Garcelle quit when she quit. I know people are saying, oh, she should have quit then. She could have quit whenever. But this is the thing, like, I've overstayed a toxic job before and it almost killed me. So I'm glad that Garcelle walked away when she did, because she did what was best for her.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much, Tish. All right, Cynthia's backstage. We're going to bring Cynthia up next. Cynthia, what's going on? Cynthia, you're muted.
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm fine, Kempire. Kempire, watching last night's episode was kind of bittersweet. I really feel bad for Garcelle. I don't know if you reported, but I heard that Garcelle is not speaking to any of the cast members.
No, she isn't.
Oh wow. Well, they deserve it.
Can you blame her?
I don't blame her. Hey, Kempire, don't be upset with me, but I wanted to know, when is your birthday?
Why would I be upset?
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, is it too personal?
No, I've said my birthday before, May 11th. But why would I be upset?
Okay.
I'm not giving you the year. No, it's Googleable. I'm 43. I'm gonna be 44. It is what it is. By the grace of God, we make it to this age. I've lost a best friend, a sister. Who else? People in their 20s. Both of my best friend and her sister were in their 20s. So by the grace of God, I've reached the age of 44. So.
Whoa, Kempire, you look great.
Thank you.
I love you, Kempire. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Cynthia. We appreciate you as well. Have a great day.
Appreciate you. Take care, Kempire.
Bye. All right, Miss Sharon's backstage. Miss Sharon, what's going on? Oh wait, hold on. That's Keith. Hold on. There we go. Miss Sharon.
Hey, Kempire, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Hey, I missed your last two uh lives on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, but I just want to go back. Something that Bo should have stayed out of is when about Dorit getting her house broken into and Garcelle questioning that, because Garcelle was not the first person to question that. Even when it happened, the fans were questioning it, and it was all over the internet. And for her to put the idea that Garcelle, that Dorit should sue Garcelle is ludicrous, because if that's the case, then Dorit should sue the whole internet, because everybody was talking about it.
And they still
Because
are.
at that point, uh, her husband TK owed people in Vegas money. So that's where people came with that conclusion. So sometimes Bo just needs to be still and be quiet and listen.
Okay. All right, Miss Sharon. Thank you so much for calling in.
Bye, Kempire. Oh,
Bye.
Cardinals are it's 1-0. They're playing the Astros. Bye.
Baseball, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks
Bye.
for sharing. Bye. Sportsnista over here. Lady Shay, lost my bestie 10 months ago, Kemp, who was also a big family of yours. Oh, sorry to hear about that, Lady Shay. Okay, let me say thank you. Writer person, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. Sorry, Kempire, but you are making me like that song. Every time you play it, I'm laughing and dancing. I might miss it when it's caught. Sorry, woo 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 to you. It's going. All right, I've just been busy. I keep forgetting to remove it. Aisha, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. Kempire and Swanky take over China. Can you imagine? I don't know if Swanky would do it though. Swanky, if you want to do it, let's do it. And bring Annie. She needs a break. Miss Esquire, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Miss Esquire says, Dorit got to a reunion 2 hours late. Don't talk about Garcelle being unprofessional. That was a kick while she was down. This was a kick while she was down. Yeah, I agree. Taurus with the T says, I was listening to you during a meeting. Hashtag multitasking. Thank you so much, Taurus with the T. Okay. Elsa said, are there any Tauruses in Beverly Hills? No, right now. None of them are. There's Cancers, there's a Capricorn, Sagittarius, Virgos, Pisces. There's no Tauruses. Yeah, there's no Tauruses. All right, let me get to the rest of these calls. We have a long line. Hold on. Keith is backstage. Keith, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm decent. All right, but yes. So first of all, let me just say with Dorit. So honestly, I blame the fans for the reason she's acting like this. Y'all always hyping her up the first few episodes, gassing her head up, thinking she was that girl when you have to have money to be that girl to begin with. So I blame the fans why she got her head all gassed up. Now, secondly, also Garcelle, I really do wish she had left on a higher note and really dragged them down to below Satan. I want them to be rooming with Satan by the way she be dragging them. Okay, and I understand you said that she's not a reader, but everything she was saying backstage, she should have been saying on that stage. But that's it.
Thank you so much, Keith.
Thank you.
I would have wished she would have brought up everything, though. I wish she would have brought up everything. I wish she would, when she talked to Dorit and the burglary, I wasn't the only one saying it. Everybody on this cast said it to me. I would be like, everybody on the internet. Yeah, me and my 4 Twitter friends, where you have 1, maybe 0 Twitter friends, we all believed it. Yep. And Kyle, we all believe that you're a lesbian. And so I said, if you want to be a lesbian, be a lesbian. Erika, you got way too much stuff to worry about to be even looking over here, girl. At least I can say I've been with a Johnny Depp, a Will Smith, or this one. All you can say that you've been with, that you can say legally, is Tom Girardi. Okay? And Sutton, case closed. Okay. Miss Esquire's here. Miss Esquire, what did you want to share?
Okay, so I'm gonna really try to do this in 30 seconds. Hi, honey, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Garcelle said 3 years ago what she wanted out of this group. She said, "Have you ever walked into a room and felt like you didn't belong? Try it your whole life." All she wanted was to be in this room and felt like she belonged. She didn't ask for them not to hold her accountable. She didn't ask for them not to have conflict with her. She didn't ask for them not to disagree with her. All she wanted to be was what they get to be, which is friends who disagree, hold each other accountable, have conflict, and then still get to exist as friends, still get to exist as more than castmates. And they decided from day one, I believe, that that was not going to be a path for her. And I think she's exhausted of it. Like, they get to protect their children, she doesn't. They get to protect their personal lives, she doesn't. They get to have their allyships with each other and have each other's back, unquestionable, unfailing, blind loyalty, but she doesn't. It's a different set of rules. And those women will never understand what it took for her to be in that room for 5 years knowing that she didn't belong. I'm so happy she walked away.
Thank you so much, Miss Esquire. Woo! And there it was said. Okay. Jamie says, raise your hand if you're one of the 4 Twitter friends of Garcelle's. Raise your hand. We know it's more than 4 people. All right. Moving on. All right. So Tracy's backstage. Tracy, what did you want to share? Tracy,
Hey,
Tracy popped on the camera like, what up? I'm like, Tracy, what's going on?
Right, how are you doing, my friend?
Alpha, how are you?
I'm good. So I just wanted to say, at the end, did you notice how when they were talking to Sutton and they were like, "Well, what's going on? What's wrong with her?" And she goes, "I don't understand it. If you don't understand anything else, you should understand why she just got up and walked off.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?" And that just, I wasn't surprised by it because, we've all experienced that, people of color and everything. But to see it play out like that and then her to be surprised that she got dismissed for supper. The audacity. So yeah, my girl Garcelle, she's better off.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's better off.
Thank
And you looking good. You looking good, Kempire.
Thank you, Tracy. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Love Calm Peace is backstage. You're going to bring Love Calm Peace up next. Love Calm Peace, what did you want to share?
Hi, my lavender husband.
Oh.
Well, speaking of the grace of God, won't he do it? Because Beverly Hills is over. I'm very much so over Kyle and her entitlement of like, oh, I don't have to tell y'all anything. Why did you bring it to the camera? Why? Because everything that they question, or I say Garcelle, everything that she questioned you about was fair game. It was stuff that she brought to their attention and stuff like that. But yeah. But do you remember the season that Erika had told Garcelle? I'm sorry, I'm going over. But do you remember the season that Erika had said to Garcelle that she was pretty much doing like a disservice to herself with always defending Sutton. And I do believe that she did that because she focused so much on being a faithful friend to Sutton and not even paying attention to the signs that at any given time Sutton would throw her under the bus or dismiss her for Kyle. But I just wanted to see, if you and everybody in the community remembered that. Sorry for going over.
I
Love
remember
you.
that. Thank you so much, Love Calm Peace. I mean, I do remember that, and it's kind of funny how those words have come back to haunt all of us. Okay. Exactly, Coco. Coco says, laughing out loud, Kelly Rowland is his lavender bride. I mean, she is married to someone else. But when I'm 90-something years old, will he still be with us? Sorry. Sorry, Kelly. All right. All right. Arjun is backstage. We're going to bring Arjun up next. Arjun, what did you want to share?
Hello, Kempire.
Hey.
I want to say one thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Garcelle got to complete her story on her own terms. Like the last part, she was able to give us a reason why she's leaving the show. And I don't think I've seen that before from any other housewives. So yeah. Also, did they ever play Garcelle's package? Because I don't remember any of the reunions. Like she bought the house, her son's modeling.
Yes, they did in part
They did?
one. Part one.
Okay, I'm gonna watch that
They
again.
did the 2 black girls in part 1.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna watch that again. Also, okay, my time's up. Bye.
Bye, Arjun. Thanks for respecting the time. We appreciate it. Damien is backstage. Damien, what did you want to share?
I want to say the Wicked Witches of Beverly Hills ganged up on Garcelle since season 1 when she asked Dorit, "Are all the people in your house brown?" And then she said, "Oh, my mom's best friend is brown." When Bose came on the show, not to say she's not a smart woman, but she got used as a pawn to be the proof that Dorit is not racist. And nobody has ever commented on that or picked that up. I'm glad Garcelle left because they make Garcelle pay for everything Sutton does. And I think when she realized that on this reunion, she checked out and said, "You know what? I'm done with it. I have no real friends here, so and there's my time."
Thank you so much, Damien. Have a good day. All right. Let me just say thank you because we had a few super chats. Alice Lincoln says, "Kempire, didn't Garcelle have a podcast? What happened to it?" I asked about that too. I said that was such a good podcast. And you know I don't love a lot of people's podcasts, but I keep saying that she needs to bring that podcast. In Bed with Garcelle was the name of it. And they didn't talk Housewives. They talked about relationships, dating. If you want to know who Garcelle is dating and sleeping with or her perspectives on that, that was the podcast to listen to. I think she needs to bring that back. But I understand she's booked and busy with other things. So, but here we are. Brandy, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. Brandy says, Sutton should have told Dorit, "Yeah, I buy people and I could have bought you with a Birkin or Kelly bag." You're so right. I buy people while you and Erika get bought if y'all lucky. See, you know how to read. They don't, unfortunately. Maloney Love, thank you so much for the super chat. Maloney says, "You share the same born day with my grandbaby. May 11th? That's a special baby." I'm just saying. I'm not just saying it because it's my born day. I'm just telling you they are special. Okay. Zoe, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Zoe says, "Crystal said it's Kyle's show and don't want new girls." Did she say it on the podcast, Zoe? She said it somewhere or in an interview. Crystal Kung Minkoff. Sage, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. Sage says, "Not to give Sag overkill, but we are very blunt. Sometimes sometimes to our own detriment. We get ostracized for it, but we're truth tellers through and through. Think that's what happened to Garcelle." I could see that. Is that why I like Sag? There's something about Sag. I couldn't date a Sagittarius, but I like them. I really, really like them. I don't have a lot of Sagittarius around me, though. That's one thing I will say. I don't have a lot of that energy around me. And I always say that they have like a youthful kitty energy, and I mean that in the best way possible. But yeah. Sonia, thank you so much for the super chat. Sonia says, "All the grace given to Erika last night was so hard to watch. A little bit of grace was all Garcelle wanted. Garcelle standing in her truth made them uncomfortable. Team Garcelle, go Astros." Oh, he's talking about the sports over here. Okay. All right. Yeah, the Girls Club says her podcast was so much fun. I look, you know, I really enjoyed it. I was so surprised that they didn't continue with it. But who knows? Who knows? Now with more time, it might come back. I thought it was a really great idea, not talking Housewives at all. Tyrese, thank you so much for the super chat. Tyrese says, "Normally, Garcelle would have been able to read them, but she was overwhelmed by deep hurt from Sutton and exhausted by the constant nasty treatment from the other women. I'm glad that she chose herself." Tish, thank you so much for another super chat. Tish says, "The timer went off, so I missed this point. Sutton heard firsthand why Garcelle was mad. This was Sutton's opportunity to show up for Garcelle and be her voice and finally have her back. But so she's like, I don't know what's good. Or maybe she really didn't know because she's so focused on herself that she didn't even listen to Garcelle when she went back to talk with Garcelle that first time around in part 1. Maybe she was just so wrapped up in herself. All right, let me get to these last few callers. And when I say last few, we have like 5 people backstage. Okay, not 5. When I talking about 5, 8. All right, let me bring up Ashley next. Ashley, what did you want to share? Ashley, I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Ashley, you might have to drop out and call back in because I can't hear you for some reason. All right, let me bring up Alma. Alma, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
Okay, so I really wish that Garcelle would have turned around and told Dorit that she does not need this reunion check. She doesn't need the show to pay her mortgage, to pay her outstanding bills. She doesn't need it. But I'm really happy for her that she chose her peace. She doesn't have not one friend on that cast, and it's good for her that she got rid of the fake friend with Sutton. She's moving on, she's glowing, and I really don't blame her. I wish Andy would have done his job and moderated a little bit more. I mean, this is how many reunions have we watched him allow them to like plummet Garcelle and not say anything? We just saw her whole mood just go down. So thank you.
Thank you, Alma. Speaking of Andy doing his job, even Andy didn't go back and have a conversation with Garcelle. Because isn't that the whole goal of the reunion? This is what they say, is to have resolution. One of the things that I forgot to mention when they went around I was so over of this review by the time I got to this part, when they went around the room to ask the women about, their highlight from the season. You notice that Garcelle talked about, first of all, Dorit talked about, I'm so grateful to have found a true friend in Bose. Well, Garcelle talked about seeing what happened with RHOBH and Sutton. And you notice what Sutton said? I'm so grateful to have really connected with Erika this season. Did you guys see Garcelle's face? Garcelle was just like, I was like, really right now? And that stood out to me. That, again, a cherry on top of everything else. But okay. All right. Let me bring up TJ. TJ, what were your thoughts?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
Well, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm just so disappointed in Bravo and Andy. Like, they treated Garcelle like, I don't even, you know what I want to say. They treated her like, But anyway, like, woo, 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 Kyle. Woo, 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 Dorit. Woo, 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 Erika. Like, move along. Can they just move along? And I'm happy for Garcelle. I'm glad that she left. And honestly, I wish her the best because, like, what they did was so nasty to her. And Andy just being there, cracking smiles, and, just, I don't know, he's just also disconnected. I think it's time for him to also kind of move on. But yeah, I'm just happy for her, and I really wish her the best. And I'm literally stalking her on Instagram because I'm just, these girls are gonna eat their words because Garcelle, the Netflix series is amazing.
Yeah.
And she's amazing. I love you guys. It's like 8 a.m. here. It's almost 9 p.m.
Oh,
So I'm gonna go to bed, guys. Good night.
You going to bed at 9
you.
p.m., TJ? Come on.
Yeah, I'm married. I gotta join my husband and go to bed.
I know that's right. All right, fine. She want to throw in our faces that TJ's married. Fine, TJ. Enjoy. You and your husband go have a fantastic time.
Good night, guys.
Night.
Bye.
I love it. Anthony's backstage. We're gonna bring Anthony up next. Anthony, what did you want to share?
Hey everyone, Anthony from Los Angeles, California. How are you, Kempire?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. So I'm gonna give this episode a 5 out of 10, and this whole season a 6 out of 10. This show is run by 3 miserable women who, if you question just once, they will all attack you for it. Be so for real. Get fired. Lastly, Garcelle and Sutton. I feel like for Sutton, this was a work relationship, even though they traveled together, they've done events together. Outside of the show, Sutton believes this is only just a friendship for TV, but Garcelle thinks otherwise of it because if you notice, she only clinks glasses with Jennifer Tilly. She avoided Sutton's glass and everyone else avoided Garcelle as well. Nothing but the best for her. Thank you so much, Kempire.
Thanks, Anthony. There's a lot of little stuff if you pay attention in this reunion. Again, I'm not telling you to go back and watch. It's not worth it. I just told you. All right, Natty's backstage. We're going to bring Natty up next. Natty, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, can you hear me?
Yes. Where are you calling from, Natty?
I'm calling from South Africa.
What's up, South Africa?
Yeah, it's almost 9 p.m. actually here. I think TJ is from here also.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just wanted to hop on and share my 2 cents with regards to Bose. Okay. As somebody who presents herself as, somebody who's pro-Black, I was just kind of like disturbed by the fact that she didn't flinch when Garcelle walked off stage. I was just kind of like taken aback a bit. And there's one thing I want to say also. Scissoring. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Daddy. Not scissoring. I really should have made that into a song. It probably would have done better than any of those other Morgan Wade songs. Nelson, the Virgo's backstage. Nelson, the Virgo, what's going on?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
First thing I want to say is we don't claim Sutton. Sutton is not a part of the Virgo clan anymore.
Oh.
She did us dirty.
Ooh.
I can't believe she did that to Garcelle. I cannot believe she did that to Garcelle. And the one comment that I wanted to make about Garcelle is I've been seeing like I guess crazy tweets on Twitter about like, oh, Garcelle doesn't know how to like withstand being in the fire. But I just feel like if you don't know how it feels to be just a black woman or just a black person or Latino or any person of color in general, like you have to understand that if you respond the way that a white woman will respond, you're not gonna get the repercussions are different. So Garcelle played the smart game, she played the long game, and now she's doing her thing. So shout out to Garcelle. I'm happy for her and she did the right thing.
Thanks, Nelson.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Cuban says famous birthdays. Famous birthdays. They did reach out to me recently. Famous birthday says that your birthday is May 12th. Well, they need to correct it. I'm gonna send an email to my manager. They need to correct it. I am born on the 11th of May. Okay. All right. Thanks, Cuban. Cuban's watching on Twitch. Shout out to the Twitch fam. I see you guys. Quite a few people are watching on Twitch today. Again, I'm streaming in 4K. That's probably why my camera sometimes freezes up. I'm streaming in high definition right now. So you can watch it on Twitch if you but I know a lot of you want to be a part of the community here in the comment section, but you can watch me on Twitch. We always stream on Twitch as well. All right, let me bring up Tasha or Taisha. Taisha?
Yes, Taisha, how are you,
Oh, well, how are
Kempire?
you?
Good. I know we got 30 seconds. I just want to say, I feel that the edit was not sequential, probably like all of the seasons of all the housewives, right? But it's just, I feel like there's something that happened between the toast and her walking out. Because it seems as though she could have stood there, had a fake smile, and walked off. But then I thought about it again, and I was like, if she doesn't feel it for these girls, she's not going to take a photo, even though she foreshadowed everyone being in the cast photo. I just feel like there's something it out, something missing. Something happened in that exact moment, and she was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And I can respect it. I can respect because if you have presented yourself as a real person,
right?
It's hard to be like be a real person. Then like I'm gonna fake a smile in the entire part 2 and part 3. You're like this, making faces. I'm not answering questions.
Staring at the ceiling.
Right. If you want to watch the reunion again, just watch Garcelle's reaction throughout the part 2 and part 3. Just like, so. If you like my reactive face, you're going to like Garcelle's. All right. Taisha, thank you so much for calling in. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Ashley, I apologize for having you wait so long. I forgot.
No, it's fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay, perfect. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna be really quick because I know we don't play the games, but I think just seeing Garcelle and just me being a black woman, I felt so bad for her because she looked defeated and it wasn't one person who had her corner or was in her back. I saw like a little bit of a smidge, maybe just a smidgen, like of Kathy look at her like dang. Well, you see, she still talked to her. They had a picture together, so I'm just,
yes, recently.
I'm just saying that. But and the only person she clinked her glass with was Tilly. So I wouldn't play with Sutton with a 10-foot pole since we are done. That is not a friend of mine. I wouldn't even look at her. You didn't even leave that she was there talking with the other woman. Absolutely not. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Have a good one. I completely forgot to even pay attention to that. I just remember her just being done. But yeah, you're right. She only was like cheers with Tilly. All right, let me get to these last couple of callers. I know I said 8, but then more people called in. Demi's backstage. Demi, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
Well, I watched, and I think this show is going to have to be put on pause.
Oh.
There's nothing going on. There was no resolution. There's no story. All that we got as far as like future entertainment was that Kyle wants to date. That's all we got. And that was just so much for she can, keep her hooks in us. But nothing else is going on. Nothing with Sutton. I mean, we're excited for Jennifer Tilly. But Bose has lost favor. There's not really much going on to continue right at another season for next year. So it should be put on pause and we should definitely get a revamp.
Okay. All right, Demi. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah.
Bye. Wait, there was a comment here that I wanted to show. Where did it go? Oh, T says, are Annie and Swanky from Young, Famous, and African are on good terms? Word on the street, no, they're not. He's engaged to someone else. And isn't the other woman pregnant? Damn, we have quite a few super chats. Thank you all for the super chats. I appreciate your support. You can also support the channel just by liking the video. I get it, hard times. I'm not one of the people that went into space and not realizing that there are hard times. Okay. So thank you so much for the super chats. We appreciate it. And shout out to our King's Guards for holding us down. Be sure to say thank you to them in the live chat as well, including our King's Guards holding us down on TikTok. We appreciate them. All right. Mama Ali, speaking of King's Guards, thank you for the super chat. Or Sutton was so high she couldn't remember what was wrong with Garcelle. Norma, thank you for the super chat. Norma says AC could have stopped the photo op and gone after Garcelle. Especially if you want real resolution. If you really see value in your stars. I'm like, you know what? Guys, let's take a pause. Because she was the one that wanted to have a photo. But again, these little things shows you people's true character. Not what they say to you, it's their actions. Because I think, me personally, if I was hosting, I'd be like, guys, yes, I know we've been here all day. But again, also as a producer, let me go talk to Garcelle. And then we could take but if she insists, then I'm like, at least I tried. No one moved. No one moved. Thank you so much for the super chat, Norma. Keith, thank you so much for another super chat. Let me shimmy for Keith. Keith says, luckily Garcelle can afford to quit this job. Bling, bling, bling. The girls are mad. Because you know I have that. Hold on.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
Untalented Jane and Dorit are mad because Garcelle joined and got upgraded while they joined and got downgraded. Well, Miss Esquire, thank you so much for the super chat. Miss Esquire says, imagine having a garden in front of you and you decide to water the desert. That's Sutton pursuing a relationship with Erika. Ooh, Miss Esquire, you're so poetic. That is so poetic. That's Virgos. And I know what you're thinking, Virgos, poetic, calm down. They can be when they want to be, okay? They're very analytical, okay? Sharon, thank you so much for the super chat. Sharon says, Cynthia said that Erika could be on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Don't let me call Portia. Luckily, these housewives don't do casting. Chef Lorraine, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. Chef Lorraine says, they treated Garcelle like a redheaded stepchild and she was over it. Much love to her. Well, I'm glad that you guys are showing her love because you know that there is a sector of the Beverly Hills Bravo universe that has not been supportive, even when Garcelle was fully here and showing up. The Girls Club, thank you so much for the super chat. Girls Club says, Bose announced her show coming out with Jimmy Fallon. Okay. Congrats. All right. Coco, thank you so much for the super chat. Coco says, Scissoring is way better than Set Me Free. I know, I need to get into the studio and lay down some tracks. Love Calm Peace, thank you so much for the super chat. Love Calm Peace says, I'm glad that Garcelle left and chose peace and showed them exactly why they don't like her. She is self-made and doesn't need the show. She is important before She was important before Housewives. Thank you, Love Calm Peace. Rahina, thank you so much for the super chat. Rahina says, Kempire, you know you love us Aries. Also, my friend gifted me a Kempire coffee cup. Well, thank you. I love it. Love Calm Peace, thank you so much for another super chat. In Ken's voice, goodbye, Kyle. HD, thank you so much for the super chat. HD says, Dorit calling Garcelle unprofessional for walking off was a microaggression. Dorit is a Karen. That part. It's so unprofessional. And the reason why it's microaggressive is because she hasn't said that to other people that have done it. That's why it goes over people's heads. Like, oh, you guys make it. She has never said that to other people that have done clearly unprofessional things, including herself. All right, Kayla's backstage. We're going to bring Kayla up next. Kayla, what did you want to share about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills final part of their reunion?
Hi, Camp. How are you today? I hope your day is going good.
It is. How are you?
Good. Let's talk about Dirty, Dusty, Dingy, Dorit.
Oh.
Look here. Okay. And it's not because her fashions are on point. I'm always give her that. But she's a hypocrite. And now she has her own black person dipped in chocolate to coincide with everything that she says. Basically, she does. To me, Bose is like a stuff and fetch it. That's just my personal opinion. Garcelle, I'm so happy for her walking away clear. If you see her story, she was like, I walked away. Her mind is clear. She's not settling for anything. So I'm happy for her in all of those things. And Sutton, terrible friend. Kyle, you let Lisa Marina drag your sisters twice on 2 separate occasions, and you don't know how to have a backbone. So we can't expect you to be honest and transparent about anything because you don't have a backbone and you let a non relative person go after both of your sisters 2 times. Even if what happened with Kathy in Colorado was true, you didn't stand on business. So we can't expect you to be standing on business in all her sexuality, her marriage, and all the things. So, girl, she gotta go. They all gotta go. I'm tired of them. And Erika, criminal. Okay, criminal. Are we just doing criminals at this point? That's all Bravo hires is criminals. Jen Shaw, Teresa Giudice, Erika Jayne. Okay. Hey, man. Won't he do it?
Oh. Every time y'all call in, y'all say, won't he do it? I don't even take it like I normally would take a won't he do it. I take it as
won't he do it? You know, because like Bo sat there and let that girl do that. Oh my God. Just,
I don't think I can hear won't he do it anymore.
They just all disgust me at this point. It's like, I flipped off my TV at the end. I was like, y'all tried it with Garcelle. They just a bunch of clowns, and I can't be bothered with the clownery. I can in Atlanta because at least they know how to read. Yeah. And occasionally we'll physically drag somebody, and that may be entertaining. But yeah,
we do not.
It's the Aquarius to me. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, Kayla. We appreciate you calling in.
Thank you, Kim.
Bye. Oh, damn. Y'all making me want to be scared of Aquarius. This is the second thing I've learned about Aquarius this week. Eavesdropper, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate your support. Tamia, thank you so much for another super chat. Tamia says the reunion was a snooze fest. Checking on Garcelle would have given at least 20 minutes of good content. But no one did. And that just confirmed exactly what Garcelle was saying about them. Eavesdropper, thank you so much for the super chat. Scissorin, maybe we can all go to the studio and drop some beats in my new voice. Come on, Scissorin. We're going to be Scissorin. Yeah. All right. Can you imagine me going to the producer that I've worked with and be like, I would like to do a song, and then I start doing Scissorin. He's going to be like, what in the... Yep, don't worry about it. Hit record. Scissorin. Every time you guys say won't he do it, I can't hear it the same anymore since this damn show. Love Call Peace says yes, won't he do it? I can't. They're talking, for those that don't know why we're making that joke, is because of what Erika said during that cringe-worthy appearance of Erika Jayne and Bozoma St. John on Watch What Happens Live. So that's where that's from. All right, Kimberly's backstage, and Kimberly will be our last caller, so no one else call in. Kimberly, what did you want to share?
Thank you so much. I know I just called in, but I wanted to say, go Brewers. Just kidding. I don't care about sports. But they did win last night. But anyways, what I wanted to say was I watched it again this morning, and you're right, it wasn't worth the rewatch. I just watched the unedited version, on Peacock. And even though I watched it last night, and what I did notice was Bose's face looking kind of concerned when Garcelle walked off. And I'm like, it looked like actually true concern. So I'm like, if you actually care, or maybe not true concern for Garcelle, I'm sorry, but maybe for herself, realizing she had done too much. And I think she's scared for that. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kimberly.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Thank you so much for another super chat, Love Compy. Love Compy says, you will learn to love us, Aquarius. I don't dislike Aquarius. I'm just learning about the crash out of an Aquarius, the violence of an Aquarius, based on what y'all have been saying. I was like, really? Okay. Note to self. All right. Ida says, leave us alone. She watched it on Twitter, Ida. Ida says, Erika had to explain to Dorit, a Karen. Lord have mercy. I can't. All right, you guys are sending the super chats. I can't even say goodbye, but thank you. We appreciate the support. And shout out to those of you that send in Cash App, Venmos, PayPal, Zelles. We appreciate that as well. And those of you that send in super thanks after and you're watching the replay, shout out to our replay crew. Be sure to let us know where you're watching from, how you would rate the final part of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, and what you thought. what you thought. Everyone's opinion is valid. Just don't attack other people for their opinions. Tamia, thank you so much for the super chat. Tamia says, not related. Did you see Lenny Kravitz's Paris home on AD? It's on my to-do. I saw it come up on my Explore page on YouTube. I wanted to sit down and I want to be able to enjoy it because I was like, wait, I got to see this. So I did see that it came out. So I do want to watch that. You know, I love to look at stuff like that. Is it beautiful, Tamia? I bet it is. I didn't realize that he had a home in Paris. I don't know. You know, a lot of these celebrities have moved out of the United States. I just found out, what was it? Tyra moved to Australia. I found that Rosie O'Donnell moved to Ireland. Do they know something we don't know? No, they're like, Kempire, you see the state of our country? Ooh.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Tyrese, thank you so much for the super chat. Tyrese says, without Garcelle's walk off, we would have absolutely nothing to talk about for this reunion. It was underwhelming otherwise. For the most part. All right. If you guys had to rate this week's reunion, the final part of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, how would you rate it? And if you had to decide who comes back and who does not come back, how would you, who would you decide? Hold on. Mo says Lenny's home is gorgeous, so full of history and a nod to his family. Oh, I can't. Okay, I'm gonna watch this after this. Yeah, Tyra moved to Australia. Mr. Melon Magic, thank you so much for another super chat. Mr. Melon Magic says, I need Karen Huger to drive to an... Goodbye. 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 On that note, I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much for liking the video. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video. TikTok, keep tapping your screens. We appreciate all your gifts and your shares. And shout out to our King's Cards. Shout out to our channel members. Become a member today at teamkempire.com/join. And of course, don't forget to support our sponsor for today's live, our friends over at RHOBH Forever. Bye, y'all. Do you realize that Mother's Day is less than a month away? Have you even thought about what you're going to get your mother? Well, we are partnering yet again with our friends over at RHOBH Forever. Roses that will last you at least a year. I've partnered with them multiple times and I have so many of their roses. I've even given them away as gifts. And the last time that we partnered with RHOBH Forever, it was during Valentine's Day. And look at these roses. And they still have their wonderful rosy scent. But shout out to our friends at RHOBH Forever. They don't just have roses anymore. They have candles. They have even things for the brides. Because some of you are getting married this spring. Just saying. They also have hydrangeas. There's all kinds of new assortments. You can see behind me, I have some roses. If you were here in my apartment, if you are a friend of mine, I've gifted RHOBH Forever to you guys. And some of you have had your roses for more than a year. But RHOBH Forever promises that for at least a year, you will have high quality, wonderful smelling, beautiful roses in your home. And please understand, this is a flower arrangement that your mother will love. Your mother will always look down and say, oh, my child got that for me, or my coworker got that for me, or my favorite nephew got that from me, or my favorite niece got that from me, or my favorite goddaughter or godson.
Yup.
Roses work for anyone. I can't tell you how I feel walking into my home and I have a RHOBH Forever bouquet at my front door or somewhere in my home, on my kitchen island, or here in the studio. Because the studio can be just a workspace, but as you can see, it can liven up any workspace, any room in your home, including your bathroom. So even if you're not looking for something for Mother's Day, or maybe you want to get a Mother's Day gift for yourself, of course, get RHOBH Forever. As always, more information on RHOBH Forever and our link will be available in the description. Thanks, RHOBH Forever.
Here we go now.